Assalamualaikum guys. Usman Nurmagomedov just absolutely destroyed Paul Hughes, and we're gonna break it down because this fight, first of all, I feel so bad honestly for Paul Hughes because I was rooting for this guy to win because in my humble opinion, Paul won the first fight. It was a bullshit robbery, but in this fight, round 2, 3, and 5, they were just so close. And I'm obviously biased with Paul Hughes. He's a great guy. I really love him. And in the build up, I thought that Usman was a bit arrogant. So I'm obviously very biased with Paul Hughes. And so I scored the fight 48, 47 for Paul Hughes. The moment I heard 50 47, 50 45 in the scorecards, I knew it. And to be honest, it was pretty obvious because honestly, round 1 and round 4 undisputedly Usman won, undisputed. But round 2, 3, and 5, they were just so close. And honestly, I'm not surprised. Like, a lot of people are saying, "Oh wait, how the hell is that?" The rounds were very close. The only two undisputed rounds were round 1 and round 4. And in my opinion, round 5 was also a bit clear since Paul's Paul's activity was much more than compared to Usman's. Anyways, let's break down the fight. Honestly, first of all, I did not expect Usman to improve as much as he did from the beginning round, from the very first round. Usman is obviously a very outside striker, and that improved so much. And you know, his takedowns were so good. In the first, these types of takedowns. In the first fight, Usman Nurmagomedov's takedowns were not at this level, which is why Paul Hughes staffed most of them. But in this fight, Usman's takedowns were so good. And in the post fight interview, Kayu said that because of Paul Hughes in the first fight, they put Usman through here, and it was quite obvious in the fight. From the very first round, it was very difficult for Paul Hughes to defend or stop any of the takedowns. Usman was easily taking him down, dragging him around the cage, striking with him, and just anything. There are a lot of moments where Usman was in a pretty good submission attempt, in a pretty good submission position. But obviously, Paul's jiu-jitsu is obviously very high level, so he ain't gonna let that slide. Anyways, obviously the Paul's striking, was very good, very high level. I believe when it comes to landing harder punches, Paul Hughes was definitely landing harder shots, though Usman. The reason why Usman actually won the rounds is he fought in a very convincing way. He was making it look like he was landing really fast and significant shots, when in reality it wasn't significant shots. It was just shots. Yeah, they were landing flush, but still they weren't nearly as powerful as what Paul Hughes was landing. And as I said, he's an outside striker, and I believe he really improved. He really embraced his striking, Usman Nurmagomedov, and that really showed. But when it comes to what's next for Paul Hughes, I believe in Paul Hughes. In my opinion, the Paul Hughes that we saw tonight and the Paul Hughes that we saw in their first fight, beats anyone in the lightweight division of Bellator, honestly. But as I said, Usman Nurmagomedov, now, after seeing that fight, doesn't matter how many times they fight. If they fight 10 times, Usman and Paul, Usman wins 10 times by decision, of course, because finishing Paul isn't a possibility at this point. But honestly, I feel really sad for Paul Hughes because this guy, he has worked so hard. He's just such a humble man. He's a very likable personality. I think we can all agree. I was really hoping that he would somehow pull this off. Deep down I knew that most Usman, he's a Nurmagomedov, so end of the day he will improve in the best way possible. But honestly, anyways, more than anything, during the fight, it was obviously an emotional war between Usman and Paul. Both guys were cursing at each other, screaming at each other. And honestly, from the very first round, I was seeing Paul Hughes pretending some of the injuries. You know, like he was, yeah, obviously he was getting hit with low blows, but I, I'm not a fighter, so I have no say on this. But as far as I observed, I think, like I think they weren't as bad as what, yeah, Paul was showing them to be. Like that, like at that level, honestly. But honestly, who am I to say? I'm just a random guy. I have never fought in a professional MMA fight. Anyways, I'm just yeah, I'm really sad, bro. Like I probably expected this, but I did not wanted for this to end like this. It's like 3:30 in the morning. Like my head is going upside down. No idea what to do. I feel so sleepy, and honestly, the rest of the card was pretty fine. The co-main event was, I wanna say entertaining, but I just can't, because like that fight could have been finished in the second or third round, I believe. But like Anderson, like anyways. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this, guys. You guys definitely make sure to let me know what you guys think, and inshallah I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.